You choose who to trust, what to give, and what you deserve. But for many, independent decision-making ended years ago. The very fabric of your reality and your closest relationships are likely being engineered by someone else. As a criminal psychologist, I've sat in sterile, concrete rooms with the most calculating minds to ever walk the earth. I've studied the cold logic of predators who view people as sets of variables to be solved. They reside in your living room, they sleep in your bed, and they're texting you right now. They don't need orange jumpsuits to be dangerous. They bypass physical violence entirely, opting instead to quietly hijack your neurochemistry. The process is so subtle that most victims eventually find themselves thanking their captors for the very chains they wear. Today, we are turning on the lights. By the time we've dissected these 7 stages of control, you will likely see a specific face in your mind, and you will finally understand the architecture of what they have been doing to you. Psychological control begins with a manufactured illusion of safety. It is a slow, methodical infiltration that starts with tactical mirroring. When you first meet this person, they appear to be a soulmate. They mimic your posture, your tone, and your insecurities. They claim to carry the exact same wounds you've spent a lifetime trying to heal. This mimicry sends a biological signal to your primal nervous system that says, "I am you, and therefore I am safe." This hack causes your defensive walls to drop completely in a matter of days. Once you are open, they move to the empathy hijack. They identify your compassion and treat it as a joystick for navigation. They manufacture small, orchestrated crises, financial panics, or tragic stories, forcing you to sacrifice your own peace to fix their life. When you eventually try to set a boundary, they present a false choice matrix. They might say, "Of course, take your time this weekend," or "You can stay and help me through this dark place." The choice is yours. This is an emotional hostage situation. If you leave, you are consumed by guilt. If you stay, you surrender your autonomy. They have handed you a leash and convinced you to hold the collar yourself. Eventually, the foundation is laid for a more direct execution. Imagine you are sitting at your kitchen table, having finally caught them in an undeniable lie. Your heart is pounding, and you expect an apology or a moment of shame. Instead, they deploy weaponized silence. They don't yell. They simply stop speaking and stare at you with dead, unblinking eyes. As the minutes stretch on, the oxygen seems to leave the room. Your brain, desperate for resolution, begins to panic. The silence becomes physically painful, a vacuum that you feel compelled to fill. When you finally beg them to speak, they strike with a guilt inversion. They let out a slow, disappointed sigh and claim they can't believe you are interrogating them while their mental health is so fragile. This is a psychological flashbang. They erase their original lie from existence and put you on trial for your reaction to their behavior. You came to demand an apology, but you leave as the one apologizing. You are left fractured and crying, convinced that you are the aggressor for ever questioning them. You are now emotionally dependent on their validation to feel like a good person again. This is when they use intermittent validation. At your lowest point, they suddenly reach out and offer a warm, forgiving hug. They whisper that they forgive you and that you are in this together. The relief you feel in your chest is euphoric. Your brain releases a flood of neurochemicals that mimic the sensation of love, even though the context is abusive. This creates a cycle of Pavlovian conditioning. Over time, your brain learns that challenging the predator leads to unbearable psychological pain, while surrendering to them brings the only available comfort. You are being trained to associate your survival with your submission. You are now trapped in the maze, fundamentally reprogrammed to protect the person who is causing your distress. The aftermath of this control is a silent tragedy. There are no bruises for a doctor to cast, but a severe assault has taken place. Years of this pressure lead to cognitive isolation. You lose your grip on reality. You no longer trust your own memory. If you remember them screaming at you, your brain auto-corrects the memory, assuming you must have provoked the outburst. The stress becomes physical. Chronic fatigue, insomnia, and a constant heavy tightness in the chest become your new baseline. Your nervous system is perpetually locked in a fight or flight mode. The manipulator has successfully outsourced their conscience. They commit the sins, but you carry the crushing, suffocating weight of the guilt. This rewires your neural pathways until you become a willing warden in your own psychological prison, meticulously analyzing every word you speak to avoid triggering the next silence. This matrix of control relies entirely on the shadows. The moment you give these tactics a name, they lose their power. Manipulators depend on your confusion and your empathy. By identifying the false choice, the weaponized silence, and the guilt inversion, you strip them of their camouflage. You are shining a spotlight on the operation. When you understand the mechanics of the trap, you can see the wires before they trip. The next time they try to play the victim to escape accountability, stay calm. Sit in the silence, look them in the eye, and refuse to apologize for things you did not do. Watch their illusion shatter. If you recognize these patterns in your own life, hit the subscribe button. We are going to decode more of these psychological mechanisms so you can recognize manipulation the moment it begins. Take your reality back. I will see you in the next one.